I learnt my lesson from my last video that, yeah, the audio quality wasn't so great. Sorry about that. I did the best I could to upgrade the audio quality. Made it a bit louder, but anyway, I think I've got it sorted, hopefully. So the subject for today is the Earth, planet Earth. Basically, I was guided to talk to a busker in Byron Bay. He looked like he was pretty much homeless, and the last person I was expecting to be probably one of the most intelligent, well-studied men I've ever met in my life. What he had to say was incredible. Most of his study apparently was done on one subject for the last 40 plus years, and what he told me actually fit all the pieces together. I have not been the same since. Since that one conversation, I haven't listened to one bit of fear, and I've been on, what could you say, cloud nine. I've been in seventh heaven. I've just been like absolutely 100,000% sure that we are going to come out of this sparkling. We are going to come through this without a problem at all. Like, we have already won. Like, this is really the most incredible time to be alive. I'm very lucky to be a part of it. Anyway, what he told me was that the Earth has these neuronal points, and I said to him, I called them something else, and he said, no, they're neuronal points. So I guess it's important to call them neuronal points that have been covered by these religious structures, and the structures don't really matter. I assume different religions. He did mention the Catholic religion, but these structures have been built on top of these neuronal points, because they're not Catholics. Don't get me wrong. I don't have anything to say about Catholics at all. What I do have something to say about is Satanists. Like Satanists pretending to be Catholics and raping young boys. Satanists pretending to be Hare Krishnas and blowing their communities apart. Pretending to be Christians and doing evil things in the name of Christ. Like pretending to be Muslims and bombing places of worship and places of with crowds of people, you know. Like these people are not Muslim or Christian or Catholic or Hindus. They are Satanists, and they're pretending to be these other religions to try and blow them apart and give them a bad name. So it doesn't surprise me that everyone hates religion. Jesus even hated religion himself. So the fact that they made a religion out of him is like spitting in his face. Like, the only people that he didn't like were the religious people. Like, how can you make a religion out of someone like that? They managed to do it somehow. And you go into a Christian church. A lot of people in a Christian church are quite religious, believe it or not, or have some element of religion or religious doctrine working in their lives, you know. And that's not Christ. Christ was all about reality, all about spirit, all about the Father in heaven, and pure love. Forgiving your enemies. Like, who could hate a person who forgives their enemies apart from someone who really wants to do evil, you know? Like, the people who really hated Jesus were the people who were making money off this evil system, you know, and still today. The same thing is true. Like, the people at the top of these corporations, you think they're going to church and praying to Jesus and being forgiving and loving? No, they're not loving anyone. They're not forgiving anyone. They want control. They want domination at any price. Anyway, getting back to the subject, the Earth, Mother Earth, our mother, you know, the physical realm. You know, you could say it's the whole of the physical realm, but let's concentrate on Mother Earth or the Earth, you know, regardless of how you see the Earth. It is a living system, or has all of life as part of its living system, and we are organs of that system. Like, we literally have a function in the Earth, and our function has been disconnected. The way disconnection, oh, you saw that happen out the window there. I don't know why you stopped. The reason we're disconnected is because we're disconnected from ourselves. Like if you look at how pharmaceutical drugs actually work, they work to disconnect the communication between parts of your body so that you can't feel the pain, or you can't feel the discomfort, or you can't feel the signals that are being given to you that are telling you to stop doing what you're doing so that you can continue doing it, because that's exactly what these globalists or the cabal or Satanists, whatever you want to call them, they're all the same. And they want you to be disconnected from yourself so that you be disconnected from others and disconnected from the planet, because the planet really wants to wipe these people out. Like, it's wiped out all the civilizations in the past who were working to this unharmonious me versus you kind of model. Like, all of nature is symbiotic, is I help you, you help me. Let's all help each other. People bring up carnivores, but even carnivores help the whole ecosystem to balance. Like, imagine if there were no carnivores, how many animals there'd be. Like, we'd be overrun by animals. There'd be no space for anything else. There'd just be like piles of animals on top of each other. Like, we need we need some kind of checks and balances. But anyway, getting back to the point, like these civilizations just get out of balance. Like the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Romans, they were all just being wiped out. And so what the Catholics, who are really Satanists, these pretend Catholics or pretend Muslims or pretend Jews, like the Zionists, they're not really Jews. I hope you know that. Like, they're not actually Jews running the world. It's Zionists, and Zionists are actually Satanists. It's got nothing to do with Judaism or Islam or Christianity or Catholicism. It's got to do with Satanism masquerading and hiding itself as other religions, or just as harmless corporations, where corporation is like a group of dead people. You know, that corpse corporation. Anyway, it's beside the point, but it's all interesting information, so I include it for you, for your listening pleasure. Yeah, so these Satanists masquerading as other things. So they built all these structures on these neuronal points to feed human emotions like guilt, greed, fear, envy, jealousy, malice, anger, into these neuronal points, because they are the very emotions that suppress us, and therefore they are the very emotions that suppress all living things, including the earth. However you want to view it, I don't completely understand how the earth works, because it's been hidden from us, obviously, and I haven't been revealed that information yet, but I can see all living organisms working together as one, including mushrooms, which grow together like neuronal networks in a brain. So they're literally like these massive brains that are under, just like inches under the soil of our feet throughout the earth. They were apparently one of the first organisms to exist on this planet. And there are commentators saying that they are actually running the place. Anyway, that's beside the point, but there are these neuronal points. They have been capped. Emotions have been fed into the earth using these things, like religion, like banks are one of the main tools of manipulation and destruction on the planet right now. They're being used to make people financially insufficient and control all of these, like especially the medical. If you look at the history of medicine, it's basically controlled. It is controlled by the banks. The banks were in the petroleum industry, pretty much started the petroleum industry, or the height of it, and then got into pharmaceuticals. A lot of pharmaceuticals initially and still are made from petrochemicals. All plastics are made from petrochemicals, so every plastic on the planet is somehow has its roots traceable back to the banks and the pharmaceutical industry and the chemical industry, the petroleum industry. They're all one. That's another one. The pharmaceutical industry is backed by the banks. Like, all their money, all their funding is backed by the banks, and they're completely controlled, if not, and wholly owned through deceptive means. Like, they don't publicize the fact that they're owned by the banks, but it is fine. I mean, it's findable. I know it. So it's got to be something you can find. Sorry, the computer just wants to turn off for some reason. I'm just doing this on my laptop because I don't really give a shit about the quality of the video. The information is what's important. So my lovely visage, which you are allowed to perceive for a short time, I don't care about that either. Look at me, I'm disheveled. But I'm a lovely human being. Lovely disheveled human being, I've got to say. But I am just a container for this message and this mission. There are millions like us. I'm by no means unique. I just carry the torch, so to speak. So back to what I was saying. They funnel these... the rain, it's getting a bit wet. I just want to tell you what I'm distracted by, because I don't want to really edit these videos too much. I want you to see the whole thing. I want you to see that I'm very cognizant. I'm able to come back to the original topic. The only reason I'll edit it is if something really interrupts what's going on. In any case, getting back to these people, Satanists, who are basically suppressing the earth because they could see that the earth was fighting back, like tsunamis, tidal waves, which they're not really the same thing because tsunamis are not caused by tides, like cyclones and earthquakes and volcanoes and all this sort of thing. They have been used by the earth, not exclusively. A lot of islands have been created for good people using volcanoes. So it's not like it's just destruction that the earth is wreaking. Like she, whatever, I don't know what you want to call it, but the earth is creating places for good people to be harbored, for people to be protected as well as destroyed. And so, good people to be protected, bad people to be destroyed. Bad people being anyone who is evil, evil being defined as anyone who causes harm to another. And I defy anyone to come up with a better definition. I think that's perfect. In any case, these people, and these tangents are all purposeful, if you haven't noticed. Like, I'm giving you more and more information with each tangent. Hopefully you can follow along. You may need to watch the video several times. You may need to pause and rewind and all this sort of thing. All this information is important, so you're welcome to do that. I don't blame you if you can't follow completely, because everyone's, got brain fog. It's no moral failing, as I said in my last video. It is what it is, and we've just got to get rid of our brain fog so that we can follow things like this and get upgraded in our consciousness and hopefully do something good for the world, which is the main point of my topic. You'll see as it all comes together towards the end of the video, what we can do. So it's not just a lot of videos on YouTube give you the problem, but they don't give you the answer. I will give you the answer unequivocally. And if you have any questions, maybe write them down in the comments, like, what's this about or what's that about? Because I can answer every question that you have, because I'm telling the truth. And if I was trying to lie to you, then I'd try and make something up or, whatever. But I'll either tell you the truth or I'll say, well, that hasn't been revealed to me yet. I don't quite know that yet. But things are being revealed to me every day. So it's quite likely that I will have most of the pieces of the puzzle that you have questions about. So again, getting back to the topic of these neuronal points being suppressed. So these places being wiped out constantly, and the Satanists wanting to not be wiped out. So they're basically using us to suppress the earth as part of the earth. We are part of the earth. We are symbiotic with the earth and an organ of it. And one of the major organs as far as getting these races under control, because the earth, as the earth wakes up, I say wake up, but actually it's just empowered to be able to protect itself, because that's what the Satanists don't want, is for the earth to suddenly turn around and start protecting itself, because the protection is wiping out the Satanists. And actually, I use the word Satanist, but I actually prefer the word parasite, because what a Satanist is just someone who has been taken over and controlled by a parasite. To some degree, like even 1% degree is still, they're still trying to create and recreate themselves in their host and in everyone around the host. They're trying to spread as much as possible. They're the only real communicable disease. You know, they're the only one you really got to worry about, like these mental memes that are harmful, or spiritual parasites that want to create themselves, or recreate themselves. So these hosts that are subject to the parasites are most notably people like politicians, most notably people like, say, high-ranking police officers and heads of banks, banking families, families that control countries. And when I say control countries, I'm not talking about politicians. Like, I'm talking about the grassroots, like they own land and they own organizations like the, what's it called? Wildlife and parks and stuff like that. Like, they do a lot of good to cover up all the bad stuff they're actually doing behind the scenes. And I mean, thankfully they do have to do good to cover up their evils, you know, because that's a lot of, a lot of the great things in the world today are because of that, I guess, unfortunately. But, it's all being worked together for good. You know, we're going to see a lot of those organisations and people dethroned, so to speak. They won't have power over the things that they have had power over for millennia by now. So these controlling families infected by parasites, the reason they have such a long-term plan is because these parasites are non-human. Like, they are a spiritual kind of mental meme, or what else would you call it? Like a persistent idea, a lineage of deception. I guess you could call it a lot of things, and they have a lot of different functions. So you could name them a lot after their functions, just like diseases. They're often named after their functions, like arthritis is just sore bones. Itis is basically a sore something. And just like colitis is like colon-itis, sore stomach, sore colon. That's all it is. Like, they're just using Latin to try and confuse you. Just like they did with the Bible, that they translated into Latin. All the church services were in Latin. No one could speak Latin, so no one ever really understood what the Bible was. Which, by the way, is an amazing text. You don't have to take every word, but what you do need is the discernment to discern which is good and which is bad in the Bible. And most of what's bad in the Bible is just a purposeful, incorrect interpretation of the real word, which is, it's good. The original word is good. It's just that it's interpreted into English and other languages in a way that makes you think, or implies that is probably the wrong word. No, it's the right word, but I want to say it in a different way. It serves the agenda of the Satanists. They want it to be worded in such a way that implies that the Satanists are the true religion, which is where they're pushing everyone. They're pushing everyone towards a kind of one world religion, Satanism kind of agenda. You see it like in gender dysphoria is like the Baphomet, I don't know if you've seen that, Satan depicted as a goat god kind of thing, with the hand like that, and I think the other hand's like that or something like that, and he has like both male and female genitals, and he's a god of confusion, and lies and deception and darkness. Satanism, it's just another, it's a deeper way of understanding Satanism that isn't often explained explicitly, because, that's the nature of Satanism. They want to hide everything they're doing, because if they did it in the light, no one would stand for it, It's pretty simple. So, in order for these globalists or Satanists or Kabbalah, whatever you want to call them, to parasites, to continue to survive, what they need to do is suppress the earth so that we can't defend ourselves and neither can the earth against the parasites. So our job, getting back to our job. So, just before I say what our job is, another point worth noting is that in the 60s and 70s, new neuronal points started to grow in the earth and new ley lines started to form. So that's why you see like the hippie movement and the ecology movement and the consciousness movement, which was sort of taken over by a drug movement. Drugs do raise consciousness for a bit and then drop you back down where you started, But the true consciousness raising was happening as well. It's just that it was kind of disguised by, LSD and marijuana and all this sort of stuff being used as a kind of false consciousness raising device. It's difficult to say that because it does actually raise consciousness somewhat, but I also feel like it's not quite as good as actually just raising your consciousness with source, with God, just God and you just working it out together, because he's the ultimate consciousness raiser. Like, he is the source of it all, and he is the enemy of the Satanists, I say he, it's a spirit, he, God, is a father and a spirit, so I just call it he for, ease of use. It's a personal pronoun that is masculine. Don't get offended by it. Could have been anything, but that's just, I don't know, that's just a shorthand, easy way of saying it. Don't get caught up on words like God, like, it doesn't matter what you call it. It's the same thing. Like, this car, this van, it's a car and a van. Don't get offended if I call it a car. It is a car. It gets me from A to B, but it's also a van. Also, it has a bigger space than most cars. Like, don't get caught up in the name. Like, if I call it a car, like, if I say God, like, some people actually get angry about it. Like, oh, I hate God. Oh, why? How can it be patriarchal society? Like, dude, if people got that offended every time I called my van a car, like, it seems to me pretty childish to get offended at words. And people still do it. I don't know. Like, people have baggage. And I mean, especially someone like, say you were a child who'd been raped by a Catholic priest, for example. Like, you'd probably hate the word God because they're raping you, saying God's raping you the whole time. Like, so you'd probably have an association with God is evil. Like, yeah, they did it on purpose. Of course they're saying, their penis is the hand of Jesus and all this stuff. Like, all this, it's disgusting, the stuff that they say, but they do it on purpose and then leak, accidentally people found out about Catholic priests raping boys. It's not accidental, man. They did it on purpose, not the priests. The priests they were brought in because they were pedophiles and allowed to have free reign. And then at the end, like 40, 50 years later, the people at the top who actually put them in those positions in the first place then dob on them and allow them to be killed and thrown in jail and raped in prison and all sorts of horrible stuff. They don't care. The Satanists at the top don't care about the people who raped these young boys, even though they were helping their own agenda. They just want everyone to know that someone representing Christ raped someone. That's what they want everyone to know that as much as possible. So they put it on the news. They put it, like, they publicize it as much as possible. You've seen it. Everyone knows that by now, that priests rape boys, like, in the name of God, in the name of Jesus, because that was the original intention, the original agenda. Not just to destroy these young boys' lives or young girls, like anyone who is affected by that in that way. And then all the people they tell, but then all of society. In any case, getting back to the topic, even though all that was vitally important to know, these parasites don't want to be wiped out, so they've co-opted us and they've filled us with drugs that disconnect us from ourselves and disconnect the whole planet so that they don't get wiped out. problem is these neuronal points started to grow in the 60s, 70s, and they are waking us up. We are starting to see through all the lies because obviously back when everyone was really waking up, 60s and 70s, there was a lot of lies, and we've grown in that time to see where all the lies are coming from, and so we're a little bit smarter now, and we're not as easily co-opted into like a movement like the hippie movement or the green movement, which sadly even the green movement has been taken over by Satanists, who have their own agenda. They're doing all this great stuff, which is piecemeal in relation to what really needs to be done. But that's why they need to take over these things. I don't know. I was going to use Greenpeace as an example, but I have no idea. Like, I don't know. I'd like to make one up. But, okay, so the World Wildlife Fund, that could be a really great thing. I really don't know. But let's just say that they were infiltrated by Satanists. Well, the best thing they can do is infiltrate every good thing like Greenpeace and World Wildlife Fund and then do basically nothing. Basically nothing. And so everyone thinks that Greenpeace, oh, look, they're against whaling boats. Yeah, once a blue moon, And then, yeah, or whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, these movements are started by good people and are run by good people. They're just infiltrated by Satanists who then just use those organizations for their own means. And the way they do that is mostly through Freemasonry. And there's a lot of Freemasons around all the time. You wouldn't know it because it's a very secret society, but a lot of police are Freemasons. Every judge is a Freemason. Barristers are often Freemasons. Anyone in a position of power, basically. People who run hospitals are all Freemasons. I'm talking about people who run them, and set the policies. Like, it's the policies that kill people, not nurses. Like, nurses are doing their absolute best to keep people alive. But if they don't follow the policy, they lose their job. Surprise, surprise. Like, if they don't follow the policy, and it's the policies that are killing people, to be clear. It's not the nurses. The nurses fulfill the policies, but it's the policies that kill. I hope you see that nuance. Anyway, so that having been said, we are waking up. The earth is awakening, and we are awakening with the earth, as part of the earth, as kind of like a part of the immune system of the earth, to help support the earth, wiping out the parasites, including Satanists and anyone else who's acting on behalf of the parasites or in the likeness of a parasite. Anyone who's being a parasite on society, say bankers, people in the financial world. Clearly, I mean, if you look at just the word financial market, like financial market, think about it. A market is where things are bought and sold. What do you use to buy and sell? Money. What are they buying and selling? Money. So they're using money to buy and sell money. Well, who loses there? If you use $20 to buy $30 or $40 to buy $100, someone's losing. And it's us. It's the whole of society. Like, like bad choice, stupid people, like all drinking the fluoridated water. Like, they call it a financial market, and you just look at it, oh, financial market. Oh, I guess it's okay. Everyone's doing it. No, it's not okay. Like, the masses are blind and stupid. As many, many, many great thinkers who we revere in society have all said, the masses are blind and stupid. So it's time for us to be not blind and stupid, for a change. Let's turn this ship around, Yeah, you can see that I'm getting riled up because it sickens me, like all this stuff that's going on. Like, we are being, we're not victims, but we're being victimized. Like, things are being perpetrated against us. Like, we're being stupid. We're being put into a stupor for a reason, because they don't want us to wake up and see, oh, like, financial markets actually means we're buying and selling money. And buying and selling money doesn't make any sense. How can you buy and sell money for money? Someone's being ripped off. Oh, shit. Oh, let's look at the Federal Reserve. Oh, the Federal Reserve is printing money. Is there anything wrong with that? Fuck. If you don't think there's anything wrong with printing money, you got rocks in your head. You know, like, thankfully the people that are watching this video are, you know, somewhat awakened, and they're aware of, like, oh, there's probably something wrong with printing money or having a financial market or working for these institutions. Like, I'm being paid to work for this financial institution. Are they doing good things? Like, I know someone who works for a financial institution. He knows he's doing bad things, and he just stays in there for his own benefit. Drinks and smokes as much as he can to lower his consciousness, and goes along with his day. Spends all his money on his family, gives some away out of maybe a sense of guilt, and he's a really good guy, just so that you know. He's a really good guy, and so he wants to balance it out, but he'll never balance it out. Like, if he stopped drinking and smoking, he knows that he would instantly realise that he's actually being completely selfish. He's balancing it out in his favour, not in the favour and the interests of the society at large. And he'd have to give up his job. Like, he would have to. And he doesn't want to. You know? So he's serving himself for the time being. But, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think he's got a choice. He's going to wake up sooner or later, just like the rest of us. Like, we all have to wake up, because the earth is waking up. Because God can't lose. Like, he cannot lose. It's impossible. Imagine someone with a light walking into a room and the darkness trying to fight it. What? Like, dude, imagine having a fight with a cockroach. You know, when I say cockroach, I mean that to represent parasites. Imagine having a fight with a leech or a mosquito. Like, you're trapped in a room with a mosquito, and the mosquito is actively trying to kill you. You know? And you are actively trying to kill a mosquito. Who's going to win that fight? It's going to scratch my ankle. I'm talking about mosquitoes. I'm thinking, am I getting bitten? It always happens. It's funny. Just suddenly become itchy. Oh, it's parasites. I have got a parasite bite there. Some mosquito bit me in the middle of the night. I didn't even know there were parasites there, like mosquitoes in the room, right on the jugular vein. Little bastard. Anyway, yeah, I mean, and that's what everyone's doing. Everyone's just dulling their consciousness and working for money so that they can survive, because they are dumbed down and they think, oh, I need to do this to survive, because if I didn't, then I'd be dead, I wouldn't be able to survive. Dude, if every single person on the planet woke up, do you think you're going to survive? Like, who's going to win, God or the parasites? There's no competition. Like I was saying, if you're locked in a room with a mosquito and he's trying to suck your blood out of you until you die, and you just have your hands, who's going to win? Like, he's got nowhere to escape. Sure, if you turn the light off, yeah, the mosquito is still not going to win. Like, mosquito can't win. It can bite you and really annoy you and make you pissed off, but it's never going to kill you. Like, I just thought, well, what if it has malaria? Well, malaria, like if a parasite came along, like a mosquito, and injected your body with something, say like, I don't know, something starting with a V or something, like, I don't know what it could be, but if they came along and injected you with something that was not of human origin, like malaria, maybe you'd die in 2 years' time or something like that. I don't know. I'm just making it up. It's just fiction. But, a mosquito with malaria, like, obviously there are people giving a lot of money to malaria research. $39 billion, giving $39 billion to malaria research, which really they're really involved with other things that can be injected into your body. Really, really involved in that sort of thing, if you get what I'm saying. They actually own this platform, so, I want the message to get out. So I'm saying these things very judiciously on purpose. So that being the case, that, you're having a fight with a mosquito, like with the light on, like that's the other thing. Like, it really helps if you had the light on. It's not essential, but to win the fight, against the mosquito, But you probably never get rid of it if you don't turn the light on, you know? But once you turn the light on, meaning like, oh gosh, there's some digestion going on down there. My digestion's fantastic, by the way, since I have changed my diet. I couldn't be happier about it, but it's still being perfected. The great thing is they don't smell anymore. How do farts not smell? It's like, wow, it's like revelation of revelations. It's awesome. Who knew? Like, and my body doesn't smell anymore because I'm not full of rotting carcasses leaching through my pores. You know, that's good too. Pretty happy about that. Anyway, that's beside the point. Go vegan. Do what you want to do, but I recommend it. It's karma free. I don't really believe in karma, but I do believe in sowing and reaping. And if you sow death and fear, then you'll reap it. And there's a lot of death and fear in the meat industry. Just saying. So, that having been said, yeah, just so many tangents. I love it because I'm giving out so much information. Like, you're getting like 5 videos worth of information, or 10, 20 videos worth of information in all these tangents that I'm giving you, just to explain this one topic, which I love. Being able to do that, because it means my brain's actually switched on and working. Like, I can relate all these topics together easily, and I hope you can too. And if you can't, then I recommend doing a cleanse and then doing a juice fast and then doing the raw vegan diet, because you will be able to put all this together and it will make sense to you and you will get a lot of stuff out of it and you will become awakened, which is the exact topic I brought it back to. Did you see how I did that? You see how I did that? Anyway, cleansing your body, bringing yourself back to alignment with Source, so that you can awaken and we can get rid of the parasites, which awakening is turning the light on. So if you want to turn the light on, get reconnected to yourself, get reconnected to your emotions, get reconnected to Source, get reconnected to others and the planet. All you need to do is, again, big surprise, do a cleanse, juice fast, and go raw vegan. Pretty simple. The end.